Hey everyone, so today we're going to talk about keto for beginners. Now there is a difference between keto and low carb. You might want to do a little bit of research on those. I'm not going to get into that today just because I want to keep this video short. That's just how I like to do things personally. It has nothing to do with long videos. This is just how I like to do them. So starting, how do you start? Just like anything, you got to clean up your lifestyle, your diet, your mind a little bit. So eating less processed foods, eating at home, starting to cut down on carbs. You will lose weight just by switching over and doing some of this. So I know, when I had like 50 pounds to lose, I was thinking to myself, like, I can't afford to mess around here or hope this works. I need to get this weight off. And I've tried so many things that just didn't work. But the thing is, when I started keto, just by eliminating some of the carbs in my diet, I naturally lost 10 pounds fairly quickly. So you will lose weight just getting started on this. And that's how I knew that this was the right diet plan for me. And it made me excited to want to do more because I was already seeing results from doing just a little bit. So what do I mean by that? First of all, it's going to be hard. There's so many hidden sugars in everything, even in milk. So you have to just start reading labels, paying attention to things, seeing how many carbohydrates there are. Start trying to find out where you're eating with your carb intake. Map it out on MyFitnessPal, something like that. See how many carbs and sugars you're really taking in, and then just start eliminating those things. What are you not willing to give up right now? And just start tackling that. Like maybe it's your fruit in there or something, and you're like, no, I'm not giving that up right now. I want to know that this works first. And so then start eliminating some of the other stuff, like start swapping bread out for, lettuce wraps. And you're not taking out carbs, you're just replacing them with fat. That's really all it is. It's very simple. So just starting to go into those macros, and there's so many sugars and things that you never even would have thought, like even just Greek yogurt, just plain Greek yogurt, they will add sugar to it. It's not naturally occurring. Now, naturally occurring sugar is okay. Like fruits and stuff like that. Those are still fairly healthy. You still have to be careful because it's still sugar, but it's a healthier version of sugar, and fruit is not bad for you. You just don't want to overdo that either. Same thing as you wouldn't want to overdo fat either. It's, anything like that. It's just, you got to be careful with what you're doing. It's a little bit of a balance. It's a give and take. So knowing that, I do recommend you do a macro calculator. JenHeward.com has a fairly good one where you can actually move it back and forth, and that's why I like it. If you want a higher carb intake, it tells you how to do that. If you want a lower carb intake, it tells you how to do that. It's one of the better ones that I've seen. So give that a whirl. There's several calculators out there. You just have to Google them. Just type in calculator for keto or lower carb, or just look them up. They're pretty easy. That's how I started. And then, yeah, just with the stuff you're not willing to give up. Like if you're a person who's like, I have to have dessert 3 times a week, that's fine. Just understand your weight loss might not be as fast as the person who cuts it out entirely. Now, that doesn't mean it's good or bad, because that other person is going to struggle too, because they're trying to cut stuff out of their life entirely. Eventually, they're going to eat that stuff, and our goal in the end is, what can you maintain? It doesn't matter how fast it comes off. It's how well you can maintain it, because you can do juice fasts. They work. You can do water fasts. But the thing is, when you start eating again or going back to normal food, you're going to put that bulk weight on right away. It's going to come right back on because they stopped doing what they were doing. So that's why it's got to be something that you can maintain, that you enjoy doing. This is a way of living for you. So if you need chocolate every night, figure a way that's going to work that in for you, or, maybe just 3 times a week. And as you do those things, your body will naturally start cutting stuff out, because as you lose weight and you feel better about yourself, you'll naturally start just eliminating them all on your own. That's how I did. I started in the summer. I wasn't willing to give up fruit, so I said I'll eat fruit and meat and vegetables, but I'm not willing to give up fruit. And I did that through the summer. Then as fall came, I thought, okay, I can start to eliminate the fruit. I started cutting that down. I started doing less cheats because of also losing weight. I could handle less calories. And it just slowly kept on moving. And then I got really, really serious for a little while and decided to cut out dairy and cut out all treats for a good 3 months because I needed to train my body how to basically stop overeating. And it was a mental carbohydrate, basically like addiction. So I was trying to stop addiction basically, and I still can't overeat or get crazy like that to this day, or I kind of start back into that process. So I do 1 day a week, a cheat day for me. That really works out best. And I still can't overindulge or overeat. I can just swap out a meal for something I've really wanted. Maybe it would be pizza, maybe it'd be ice cream. I try to only pick one thing. I don't like to do a cheat meal and a dessert. I like to try and pick one or the other, just because I can add up in calories too quickly and it starts me down that binge cycle. If you're a person and you can do both, awesome, go for that. It's just personally where I'm at right now, and I'm always fine tuning it. Sometimes I'll cut out coffee for a while, sometimes I won't. And if you're thinking about in keto, there's a lot of times where they do the intermittent fasting. Don't even go there yet. That's something we'll talk about in a later date for you. You need to make it 6 months at least, probably, before I'd recommend you trying that. Especially for women. Men, you might be okay. But there's a lot that comes with that, and that's a video all in itself. So I'm going to leave that where it needs to be. Do not go gym crazy. Before I started this diet, I was a person that unless I had 2 hours to spend at the gym, I wouldn't even go because I would work my butt off. But the second I couldn't work out or do that anymore, guess what? I put the weight back on. So when I started this diet, I said, I'm not going to the gym. I'm not doing anything. I want to learn how to lose weight on my least active days so that I know I can lose weight. And so I started doing that. And after I got comfortable, I dropped 25 pounds. I still started feeling better. I had more energy. I was excited to work out. I wanted to work out. That I just said, okay, I've got 20 or 30 minutes and I go to the gym and say at that time, but I'm allowed to do whatever I want. Some days I was really tired and I would just do yoga, or I was really sore. Some days I had tons of energy and I'd go for a walk or a jog, or I'd run. Sometimes I'd lift a lot of weights. And then other days it would be nice outside and I just wanted to go for a walk with my dog. Whatever it was, I just gave myself an amount of time. And I did it, and it gave me a variety, and it shook my lifestyle up and my days up, and it made working out fun because I wasn't just forcing myself to go to the gym and do leg day or arm day, and I was, dreading it all day long. Instead, it was fun. I was excited to go work out because I got to do whatever I felt like doing. So that's a good start. If you've never worked out, once to twice a week is just fine, and you'll start going up, and keep them in small increments, just 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day. Then start building that time up because you have a lifetime to do this. That starts small. If I could, I think if you can think of the most lazy thing you could do, like, okay, if I'm just on the couch and I want to lose weight, what could I do? So that way, the days or when you're really busy and you don't have time to go work out, you know exactly what you need to do. And the days you have more time, then yes, let's go do it. But we're busy people. A lot of times we don't have time to get to the gym, to do all these things that we want to do. But you don't want to gain weight just because you can't make it to the gym. So I recommend that you find those fasting limits, those things that you can do without even going to the gym first, and then start learning to balance and add those in because it's good for you and for your body to do that, whether it be at home or at the gym. So I mix my workouts. I probably go to the gym maybe 2 to 3 times a week. I play volleyball between 4, 5, 6, 7 days a week. And then I'll do workouts at home 2, 3 times a week too. I've just learned how to fit it in. If I have time, I love going to the gym. If I don't, I'll do a small workout at home. Maybe it's just taking my dog for a walk. But I figure out how to get it in. And, excuse me, my nose itches. There is no 360-degree turnaround for weight loss. You cannot do that. Our bodies aren't made to do that, and you already have a lifestyle and a way of eating. It's just finding a new one that you can stick to. Everybody's like, I just can't eat what you eat, or Just tell me what I need to do. You're the only person who can tell you that. I wish I had the answers for you, but I don't, because I don't have your body. I don't know the foods you like to eat. I do eggs every day. Some of you don't do well with eggs, then don't eat eggs. So you have to find something else. I don't do well with nut butters, but some people do just fine with them. So eat your nut butters instead for breakfast or whatever else it is. But learning what you're not willing to cut out, and that's fine. Leave them in there and let your body naturally cut them out, but you can still lose weight. And I didn't have a lot of trust in diets anymore because I tried a bunch and they never really worked for me. So the more I did keto, the more it proved to me that it worked and that I could maintain this. And I just got more serious about it over time. I just started cutting out more and more and more, and just getting healthier and challenging myself as my body was ready for it. So, if someone says they're cutting out coffee, it does not mean you need to do that. They might have been doing keto for a year or two, and it just feels like it's the next step for them. So it's really just putting one foot in front of the other and just letting your body do what it needs to do. Because if you can't do that, there's no way you can do the rest, and you're definitely not going to maintain this weight loss unless you can do this process. So just start eliminating things very slowly, and you're going to find that this works for you. And everybody can handle different kinds of low carb intake. Just because the American diet, it's fairly high in carbs. So anything between 200, 100 is pretty much considered low carb. But if you really want to get into ketosis, that's like 30 grams. So maybe even just start low carb and work yourself into keto. Check out a paleo diet even for a little while. That might be a better alternative for you until you can get to this. It takes time. This was a journey of over 7 to 10 years for me. This didn't just happen overnight. I had tried vegan, vegetarian, I've done paleo, I've done all these things. That this was just my next turn, and I just started figuring out, and I realized this is what works best for me and for my body, and I feel great. So again, I hope this helped you. If you don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.